Recording. Okay, yeah, kind of hopefully a quick response to Nick, the Modern Mystic. Did a whole video, kind of 20 minutes of pointing out that it's this debt psychology, these debtors that were the problem. This idea of people thinking they could live better than they can live and wanting things they can't afford and all this kind of crap. That's sort of the problem. That's the crisis. There was too many hands out. And that was what destroyed the economy. I say bullshit to that. The reason why there was hands out was because it was people with money to put into those hands. They wanted to put money into those hands because they wanted something, somewhere to put their money. They had so much money they could afford to buy trillions of dollars, and not even 13 trillion of American debt, but British debt and whoever else, Japan debt, any country's debt. There's a ton of rich people who want to buy that debt because they don't want to hold dollars, because dollars are going to lose value over time. There's no currency that's indestructible. So they want an investment. They want things to invest in. Okay, and investing in debt is a good thing because you get this interest money every year coming in, and they still owe you the principal over time, and so you make money every year. It's not that complicated. And you look at stock markets, and they're way overvalued. Companies that if you tore them apart, you'd get less than 10 cents on the dollar. You get a penny on the dollar if crisis hit, and you actually had to, if you had to cash in your stock for what the company was actually worth, you'd get slaughtered. So yeah, they want to find something else maybe because they don't trust that mechanism entirely. But they got plenty of money there too. They're just diversifying. But they have so much money. That's the point. It's this crisis isn't a crisis of debtors. It's a crisis of lenders. Too much ownership has consolidated in too few hands. So Nick, explain to me what the rich would do with their money. All right, I've asked other people this question. I don't get any answer. What would the rich have done with their money if they didn't lend it to consumers and didn't finance consumption with it? What would they have done with it? And the answer is they would have inflated the price of some other commodity. All right, if it wasn't the housing industry through consumers, it would have been property values because they would have bought all the property. They would have bought land, or they would have bought stock in companies, and they would have inflated their value. There would be some inflation somewhere created by their ownership tickets, by their dollars that they would have to convert into investments because they're not going to want to hold dollars. They're not going to keep a pile of dollars in the bank. They're going to buy investments because they want to make money on their surplus. And the whole point is they have so much money. They can't spend it. It's the point. They can't do the consuming. And of course, if they could, we wouldn't want them to anyway. At least through investing, at least they're allowing other people to consume. They're allowing the regular serfs, the regular peasants, to do some consuming by investing their surplus in consumer debt. So at least it's not like building pyramids, which the rich would do with their money if they had to consume it. If they had to consume it, then they'd build friggin' pyramids. They'd build monuments to themselves, and you know it. And that waste would be far more preposterous than the sock factory where people are buying their socks from, or the candy company, or whatever. All the stuff that people are consuming that you will have such cynicism and ridicule for. Yeah, okay, people do a lot of stupid consuming. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending mass psychology and pop culture. But the fact is that a lot of that consumption is damn good consumption. And a lot of that debt was damn good debt. It was investment in a home, in a house, in property, and land. And yet, it all got out of control, not for any other reason than there was this demand of interest, this demand of a return on investment, that money should make money and not have to do any work. That money just has to be just ownership. That's all it has to be. It didn't have to do anything. It just has to own, and therefore it's going to get paid. And that profit, that money had to come out of something, and all that money kept coming. And it kept coming at a rate faster than the worker rate. The worker was paying higher taxes than the investment capital. Okay, that's the system we created. And these deficits were created because we lowered taxes on the richest people in the world. And that's the truth of it. Taxes on the rich have gone down in the last 3 decades. So all this consumer debt, all this bubble in debt was largely created because of the deficits created because of the income taxpayers, because the rich weren't paying their bills. And so that's how all this inflation got started. Telephone, but it's a good time to end. So just explain where the rich would have invested their money if they didn't invest it in consumer debt. Explain that. And explain how that wouldn't have the same negative consequence on the economy.